we're going to attempt to make a bead breaker for motorcycle tires today, and a tire change rig to hold the rim in place so that way you can, get it off of the rim and everything. So going through my steel here, I keep a bunch of junk under here. Most of my bigger stuff's outside, but I figure why not use the workbench leg here. This is a 4x6 post, and we'll use that for the bead breaker. So first thing I'm going to do is use this piece of angle iron here and bolt this to the concrete, so that way when I'm pressing down on my bead breaker, it doesn't try to pick up on my leg of my workbench and rip it off the wall. So got our hammer drill and our portaband, and we're going to get to it. Step one complete. I went with a little lag bolt and a 1/2 inch drop-in concrete anchor because I love drop-in concrete anchors. So I kind of got started on this next part before I started filming. I have a Milwaukee cold cut saw. These are fantastic for metal fabrication because you can cut metal obviously with them. Super thick stuff. I think it'll do up to like 1/2 inch plate steel. Anywho, I had some of these strut couplings for Unistrut, and I think that's perfect for making these brackets that I'm going to need. I mean, it's got a hole in it already and it's already the right shape and it's pretty stout looking. Okay, so we got a couple of our brackets made up here. They're looking pretty good. I've got enough material to make a couple more if and when I need to, because I haven't decided on what direction I'm going to go with this yet. But the next part is this arm, and it's actually a jack handle for a 3-ton jack, an old piece of junk Chinese-made Craftsman floor jack I had, and I threw it away years ago because it was garbage, but I figured this handle was good steel, so that's what we're going to use next. But you could use anything. You could, of good gauge steel. Hopefully this is thick enough for us. It was used as a handle before, so I think this ought to work. Here's where we are now. I used a carriage bolt to just bolt it through this workbench leg, and then I grinded these edges down on the top and bottom so they wouldn't hit the head of that carriage bolt. So now we've got our handle, and now we gotta make our bead breaker section of it. Now for that, I'm going to use some black iron, just 1-inch black iron pipe. I always keep some, random pieces of stock like this around just for projects. And I picked myself a comfortable height for like how high I want this angle to be for my arm when I press down. And now we've just got to figure out, how far out. This is tough to do holding the camera. We want to come to either weld this bracket on for this, which will be another one of these, or I might just through bolt it. I don't know. Maybe I'll weld it. But, we need to be able to get it, because the closer we get to the hinge point, the more leverage we're going to have, obviously. Okay, so got this welded on here. Went ahead and drilled the hole for, our piece of 1-inch here. And gosh darn it, I really need a mount for this camera. This really sucks. I'm starting to realize this. So I'm thinking what we do now is get ourselves a good bend on this, a radius, because we want to weld this to this. And this is what's going to press down to break our beads and stuff. So, okay, so instead of heating it up with a torch, beating on it with a hammer, because it's much more difficult really to do it that way, I took a little duct tape. This is 1-inch, like black iron pipe or whatever. And so you can see I'm just starting to tighten this vise up, and that's gonna, naturally that's just gonna force this to bend and give us a nice clean radius. And this is something that you guys should be able to do with just a bench vise. And you could, use something other than these pieces of pipe here. But if you're building this project, you should already have that pipe. So this is the direction I went with it rather than the torch and hammer. After you get it out of the bench vise, match it up to your radius of your rim. Make sure that you like it. If it's too much, it's really easy to take back out. Just stick it in the bench vise, crush it a little bit flatter, go back, crush it a little flatter until you get the radius that you're happy with. I used the bolt hole to kind of eyeball this flat because we know we're getting ready to, I got this set up to weld, so this is what I'm doing with that. But that way, I don't end up crooked with the weld or anything. You'll have to forgive the dog for barking. So we could stop here, but if you look online, the ones that you see have like a second kicker that comes off of here, back. And so I think I'm going to make that too, since it's not really that much effort. And I'm guessing that's just to keep this from kicking this way or that way as you're pressing down. So what I've done is taken a couple pieces of angle iron. They were rusty, so I shined them up. And then this is what I'll bolt into the 4x4. And I just welded a washer to this. And then I'll drill this out, put a 3/8 bolt, and then do the same over here. And then that'll attach, about yay. And that'll keep this true as it goes up and down. Well, here we are, minus spray paint for completion just to prevent some rust. Here's how it turned out. I think it came out really good. I mean, look at that. I love how long this handle is too. I mean, it's just goes on for days. So much leverage. Well, I got everything hanging up now. Just got done painting it. And it's pretty much ready for use. I think the other thing I'll make for it is a little holder. So it's, because you're not always just going to have it put together with the handle sticking way out here. And since it's a two-piece handle, that'd be nice. I might either stick it like kind of down in here. I've got some conduit that'd be perfect for that. And I could just mount it so you can slide the two handle sections down in there. Boom, it's out of the way. And of course, I'll just leave that bracket, the hinge bolt for that, finger tight. And I'll do the same thing for the other one, the little one, but I painted it, so it's hanging up here. Now, I've got my little storage location now, so these will be tucked out of the way and not hanging out here. I'm getting a little ahead of the video here. But I'm making the rim holder at this point. And I've been toying around with some different ideas. I think the first time around, I'm going to go with like a ratchet strap idea. I was going to make metal hooks like you see on a lot of these tire changers, but I really am just more worried they're going to tear up the rim more than anything. And besides, if you use a ratchet strap idea, it could probably do, a lot more types of rims, to be honest with you, without having to reconfigure things. So I got a plywood box here. This is the bottom. It's upside down right now, and I'll be building legs and stuff for it, but you'll see as we go. Alright, so I got the legs on it, and I'm going to wrap around this base. It's upside down right now, but with this old angle iron I've got from like a shelving unit, this is 1/8 inch thick, at least. That's pretty stout. And it's nice that it's already got the holes in it, because I can... that'll save me on the labor. And I'll use those same holes to bolt it to the concrete. Alright, so now we got it standing upright. We got the angle iron on it. And to bolt this to the concrete, and obviously we want it to be removable, right? Ideally, you don't want this thing just sitting in your garage forever in the way. So for that, I'm using these 3/8 drop-in concrete anchors. I love these things. because they give you a standard 3/8 thread, and I mean, they're going to be flush with the concrete. In fact, they'll be down just a little bit below the surface. So we can just unbolt this and set it in our shed or garage or wherever you're going to put it, out of the way whenever you don't need to change tires. And to keep crap from falling in and plugging up our threads, I'm just going to put a real short bolt in each one of those. I might even cut the head off and grind a flat head in it, slot, so I can just screw those down flush with the surface of the concrete as well. Alrighty, so got her bolted to the ground. Make sure you label, like I put garage door side, and then I wrote like workbench side. That, because, you know, when you go to put it back the next time, it'll be easier to line it back up, because you don't know exactly where your holes line up. Unless when you build yours, you make all the holes in exactly the same spot. So I'm going to drill some holes in here. That way I can run the ratchet strap up too. You can see my helper in the shot. She really wanted to be in this video.
I'm his daughter.
But I wanted to kind of show you guys what direction I'm trying to go here. The screwdriver, obviously, that represents your rim spoke, you know, so I drilled multiple holes for, you know, you could grab as many spokes as you need, depending on the rim you're doing. And that's also was so great why I chose this specific angle iron. Some are just regular angle iron that I had to drill the holes out in, because I'm running the ratchet straps down through there. I really like this idea because it's not gonna tear up my rim, you know, it's not going to mar it up and stuff. I was thinking about, and I could always change it later if I want to, do the like Y-shaped pieces of angle iron and bolt it to the top of this and do the hook, but that grabs your rim, and I just don't want to mar up my rims, because the people I have access to in my local area of Southeast Indiana, they're tearing up my rims, and they don't mount the tires properly. There's a little dot of paint on your brand new tire, and they're supposed to put that dot of paint right where the valve stem is. So there's the dot of paint. All the way over here is my valve stem. And I balanced my own tires, fortunately, but that made me have to add a lot more weights to it, because the guy didn't know what the heck he was doing. And these were brand new rims, and they're all marred up. They're all tore up. He scratched the inside, he scratched the outside. I'm just tired of dealing with amateurs. It's just freaking ridiculous. And then what you're paying for the labor that you're getting, you know, and they're tearing up your stuff every time. So if this is something you guys are interested in, hopefully this helped you out. So I took a real long 3/8 bolt, and I just made some little caps. They don't have to be pretty. They just, after we take this back out of the floor, we'll have to fill those threaded holes, otherwise they'll get filled with dirt. So I just made these, and they won't be screwed in tight. They'll just be screwed in until they're flush with the floor, and I would recommend you do that. Alright, here it goes. Test one. Whoa, that was so easy. Wow, this thing works great. Alright, we got our first tire up here. Ratchet straps ran through it. I gotta say, it's super solid, man. Just super solid. Alright, here's the tools I'm using. Previously, on my last bike, I was trying to use these rim protectors and these from Bead Pro without my bead breaker and everything, which, as you can tell, works amazing. Thank God I made that thing. And then so I bought these. These are like 25 bucks. They're pretty nice, and they came with 3 more bead protectors or rim protectors or whatever. So now I've just got a ton of them. I would definitely recommend. These are like on Amazon for like 25 bucks, and like I said, they come with 3 bead protectors. So we'll see how they do. Well, I sprayed soapy water around the brim, and I only ended up using these 3 newer tire spoons. I think I had that off there in about 30 seconds. I mean, this table I built to hold the rim and everything has been a life changer. The next time I'm going to redo this video, because there's no way you guys are going to believe the times I quote. It took me maybe a minute and a half to get the second side of the tire off. Love it. This is life changing. It's going super easy, obviously, so far, but don't forget they put a dot of paint on your tire. That little dot of paint, it marks the light side of the tire as far as tire weight, and that has to line up with your valve stem. And that was one of my main complaints with the local shops around my place that were constantly putting it in the wrong spot. My dot of paint is actually on the underside, so I can't show it to you, but make sure you remember that. Well, I'm trying to finish this video up, and I realize there's really no good ending to it. It just kind of abruptly ends. I'm sorry there's no footage of me actually changing the tires and pulling them on and off the rims. Next time there will be, I promise you guys. Super easy. It took me maybe 10 minutes to get the old tire off and the new one on. I mean, when I tried to change these tires, like without the bead breaker and without the rim holder, it took me about 2 hours and 45 minutes to do one tire. I'll never go back. And I made all this stuff was just stuff I had laying around, so I made it all for free. And now I don't have to have people tearing up my stuff and mount my tires wrong. Hopefully, this gives you guys kind of a direction to go in as far as making your own stuff. So hopefully it helps you guys.